Well, what do you know? We are live. Welcome to this live English lesson about Thanksgiving. We are going to talk all about what Thanksgiving is, why do we celebrate it, and what do we do on Thanksgiving. Give you a little hint. We eat a lot of food. So there is a Canadian Thanksgiving that I've heard about, but we're going to focus on the American Thanksgiving, which we just call Thanksgiving. Hey, shout out to Bob the Canadian right off the bat before we get started. I don't think he's watching, but he usually goes live on Fridays and he's not feeling very well. So hopefully he gets better. I don't think it's anything serious, but it's not going away. So he said he was going to the doctors today. Yulia, thank you. I should have mentioned that, but thank you. Yeah, we hit 25,000 subscribers on this channel. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, maybe you want to, so you never miss an English lesson. But Yulia, thank you so much. Yulia always comments on Facebook and YouTube. I think we are live on Facebook, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe it's just YouTube here. Mega, how are you? Welcome. Mahmood, welcome. Say hello to a couple people before we get into the lesson. Filippo is here. Welcome. Walter, hope you're doing well. Omron, Luke, hey, it's been a while. Hope all is well in Poland. All right. I'm sorry. In some Cyrillic language I can't read, but welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I don't think we're live on Facebook for some reason, but that's okay. I think we're supposed to, but maybe we are now. I don't know. I just hit a button. Colombia is in the house. Welcome. I will be in Bogota sometime next year. Yes, thank you, Olga. Thank you for the 25K. Yeah, 100K will be nice. I think we are on Facebook now. There was a glitch, but it says you can send stars. You don't have to send stars. This lesson is free. I would like to shout out the sponsors of this lesson, though. Link, they're offering 40% off their annual plan for new users. There is a link over there. More about them later, but that is the app I use to learn my languages like Italian, a little bit of Russian, Portuguese. It's a good app. Thank you, Omran. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much. Turkey is in the house. Welcome. All right, let's get into the lesson. Thanksgiving. Americans celebrate it. We're going to talk about when we celebrate it too. There is one special day every year. So what we need to do is pull that up. That's the thumbnail with me. That's not my sweater. AI put that sweater on me. But the first term I would like to teach you is gratitude. Gratitude. You may know a different word that is a lot like gratitude, but Thanksgiving is a day for showing gratitude. Gratitude is thankfulness or being thankful for something. So, the main idea about Thanksgiving is that you take a day, stop for a minute, and say what you're thankful for, or at least think to yourself, what am I thankful for? And I think a lot of Americans are thankful for their health, if they have it. They're thankful for their family. They're thankful for the health of their family, things like that. There are a lot of good things in this world, and Thanksgiving is just one day that Americans stop to remind themselves what they are thankful for. So here is a sentence you can use to practice shadowing with the word gratitude. I will read it. And if you would like to repeat after me, that might help you with your speaking. Or you can try to say it as I say it. I feel gratitude for my family and friends on Thanksgiving. Let's talk about when Thanksgiving is celebrated. Always the same day every year. It is the fourth Thursday in November. And that might be a little difficult to say depending on what your first language is. It is the first Thursday of every November. Thanksgiving is always celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November. So this year, Thanksgiving fell on November 23rd. But I think it was last year, Thanksgiving fell on November 30th. So a lot of Americans celebrate Thanksgiving and also celebrate Christmas. And for those Americans who celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving is kind of that day where you go into Christmas mode. Like maybe after the Thanksgiving dinner, people are already thinking about, okay, I need to get presents for somebody. I need to start decorating my house. So this year, with Thanksgiving falling so early on the 23rd, there are more weekends before Christmas. So for those Americans who celebrate Christmas, they have a little more time to do some shopping. Yeah, if you follow the same calendar that the United States does, I think most countries do. I know Iran doesn't, maybe not Afghanistan, but you have a couple weeks in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. This year, it's a little bit longer. So if you have to get those decorations up or those Christmas presents bought, you have more time. The next one is tradition. We're going to be talking about tradition and custom in English. And to be honest, I think I use these terms interchangeably, but there is a difference that we will talk about. Tradition. A tradition is a way of doing things that is passed down from parents to children. So, one tradition that my family has for Thanksgiving is that we will celebrate with family and friends. That's what a lot of Americans do. But we'll also have turkey, which is a lot of Americans will do that. But because my wife is from the South, one tradition that my family has that other families don't is different kinds of foods that we will talk about later on in the English lesson. So, tradition will often be different from family to family. So, my family might do slightly different traditions than other American families, which is a little different from custom. So, one tradition that my family had when I was living with my parents is that my mom would get up really early on Thanksgiving to start cooking the turkey. And so by the time the rest of us woke up, we would smell that turkey cooking. That's one tradition that my family had. Now, today, we don't get the big turkeys that my family used to get. So it doesn't take quite as long to cook. So our traditions might be a little bit different now that I have my children. How about this? This is a tradition almost every American family has, like almost. One tradition on Thanksgiving is eating turkey for dinner. Yeah, A lot of people do that. A tradition that we didn't do we didn't do this tradition yesterday. Don't think we did it last year either. But my brother in law will sometimes fry a turkey, which is a little different from some Americans. Most of the time, the turkey is baked in the oven. But for about 10 years, I think there was a turkey fried every Thanksgiving. It's a little dangerous. And since Thanksgiving was at my house yesterday, we didn't fry the turkey. No, we did. Last year, we did fry the turkey at my house. Hey, what I would like to do right now is play you a short video. It's about a minute long, and I filmed it this morning, the day after Thanksgiving. But what I want to do is show you what my family's like table decorations looked like. So my wife did all of this. I did none of it. To be honest, I was sick the day before Thanksgiving. I was a little sick yesterday, and I'm feeling much better today. So big shout out to Jamie. She did all of the decorating. I did some of the cleaning, and I got sick halfway through the day. So here it is. Jamie and I hosted Thanksgiving yesterday. That's the verb we would use. Everybody came to our house. And by everybody, I mean my brother, his family, my sister, her family. I think we had like 11 or 12 people here. So there was a little table down there. It had some decorations on it. And up here was where I think we were able to fit everybody up here, but some of the food was down there. So those things were like a little bit more decorated, like the pumpkins weren't turned over and they had lights on them, but it was good to have everybody at the house and eat lots of food and watch lots of football. All right. Hopefully you like that little video I filmed so you could get a first-hand look at an American Thanksgiving. Last year, I think I filmed a video before Thanksgiving. So just give you a little taste of that. Hey, I did see in the comments that Michael had to go. Sorry, man. He's going to miss most of the lesson, but all right. Hope everything is going well. There might be an issue, it said on might be an issue on Facebook. Facebook might be having some trouble, but at least here on YouTube, it seems like it's okay. All right. Let's get back to the lesson here. See if I can get back to the lesson. There. We were talking about tradition. So many buttons here. Hide that. Get back to this. Tradition. We talked about that. And then we said that one tradition on Thanksgiving is eating turkey for dinner. Now, custom is a little different. And as I said before, I will use these interchangeably, but some people may use them like what their real definition is. So, custom. A custom is a usual way of doing things in a particular culture or group. So, tradition will be different from family to family, but custom usually means like the whole country does it this way, or like a big section of the country does it this way. And I thought that weddings will be different all around the world. And one custom when it comes to weddings, at least where I live in the United States, is this thing. It is a custom that a man should not see his wife to be the night before they get married. Now, things are changing with weddings and all that, but one of the traditions of getting married was the custom of the man not like the people getting married, they don't see each other the night before. And I think my wife and I were both out in the same town with our friends, and we almost ran into each other using that English phrasal verb. But one of my friends said, no, 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 Jamie's down that way. We have to go a different way. So we didn't see each other that night. So that is a custom for some people in the United States not to see each other before the wedding and the night before. And some brides, a custom for them would be to wear a white wedding dress. So, hopefully, to clear up the difference between tradition and custom, a tradition has more to do with a family, and custom has more to do with a group of people, maybe even a whole country. So, that's the difference between tradition and custom. How about this one? Gather. This is a great verb to know, gather, and you can use it a couple different ways. So, yesterday, my family gathered together and ate Thanksgiving dinner. Gather is a verb meaning come together or meet in one place. So, you can actually turn that into a noun and you can have a gathering. That would be the noun. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Families gather around the table for Thanksgiving dinner. And in that picture, you can see it looks like people are gathering around the table. Maybe they just had Thanksgiving dinner and they are about to have dessert. That looks like a pie of some sort. But gather doesn't have to have something to do with family. It could be that you're collecting items. So here is a sentence with that kind of verb. Same word, just a little different meaning. I gathered a lot of apples from the tree so I could make an apple pie. So gather, make that a little bigger. You can see this person is gathering apples, stems and all. That green thing on the apple, we would call that a stem, and the bigger green things are leaves. But you could also, I'm not sure if I have a picture. Yeah, I don't have a picture for the noun form gathering, but I do have a sentence. A gathering is another way to say a party. You might have a get together for Thanksgiving, which is another way to say gathering. Get together is a noun also. So if I hear party, I might think more energy, like maybe loud music is playing. A gathering and a get together is probably a little more low key, to use some slang. There probably isn't loud music playing. There probably isn't dancing like you would have at a party. So hopefully that makes sense. You can have a get together, you can have a gathering, you can have a party. It's all when people come together in one place to celebrate something, but they're slightly different. Hopefully that helps. Let's check the chat, see if there is anything going on, maybe any questions I can answer here. There you go. Mina, hopefully that is the way you say your name there. Yeah, so my neighbors, and the way you spell that is the British way of spelling things. Perfectly fine. I also think it's the Canadian way of spelling things. Americans have to do things differently. And Thanksgiving is one word. So my neighbors gathered around my house for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I might change that to my neighbors gathered at my house for Thanksgiving. but they gathered around the table. Just some kind of weird prepositions, huh? But if you said that, people would know exactly what you meant. My goodness. Omron, you did this last week too. But thank you so much for the super chat. I do have a little bit of something for you. Let me find it first, though. Omron, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. And during every super chat, I do try to quickly sip some water. But today, because, can you hear that? Clinking. But because my throat is still a little sore, I do have some Prime, which is supposed to be good for hydration, which means you won't get as thirsty. Or if you are thirsty, this will quench your thirst. That's a good verb to use. So if you're thirsty, that means you don't have a lot of water, but you might drink some water or maybe this drink here, Prime, and that will quench your thirst. It's a good verb to use when you're thirsty and then you're no longer thirsty. Quench. I don't think we use that verb for many other things. Quench. But Omron, thank you so much. All right, just checking through the chat. Hey, Audie the Tie is here. Welcome. Glad you could make it. I think it's rather late. Yeah, this is not the best time for me to go live so everyone can watch. I know it's really late in some parts of the world, like Thailand, but thank you for staying up. Moscow is in the house. Welcome. Oh, Abdi, hey, really good question here. What's the difference between gather and accumulate? Whew, tough word there, right? Accumulate. So when I think of gather, I do think of more like this, like coming together. When I think of accumulate, I think of more like a stack of things. Like if you get a lot of mail every day and you skip going to your mailbox for a couple days, the mail will start to accumulate. It will start to get bigger. And a lot of times when we get snow, they will talk about snow accumulating. So means like growing higher a little bit over time. And we actually do have a noun like we use with snow. So, hey, it's supposed to snow this weekend. What's the accumulation? We're supposed to get 3 inches. Yeah, we don't use centimeters here in the United States. We like to be different. Yeah, man, I'm a little bit under the weather still. Yeah, but I did want to do this live lesson about Thanksgiving because I worked on this lesson and I didn't want to save it for next year. Nobody's going to want to watch an English lesson about Thanksgiving in the summer. So I went ahead and did this, but still just a little under the weather. Just another way to say just slightly sick. Slightly sick. Jake, I remember you. Yes, from a while ago. I think you're younger, right? You're maybe a teenager, I think. I can't remember where you're from, but I do remember that name. Jake, welcome back. And I think we are only on YouTube, no Facebook. But this will be out on the podcast in probably just about an hour or so. So hello to anyone watching from the podcast. Sometimes you can watch on the podcast now. All right, we just talked about gather. Let's talk about this word, parade. Do you know this one? Parade? Yesterday, most of my family watched the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade. That is a tradition that my family has. A lot of families in the United States have this tradition. But a parade is a public celebration where people and vehicles move in a line to entertain others. There's sometimes marching bands and floats. In that sentence, float is a noun. You might know the verb float. It means to be in the air with nothing below it. So think of a balloon. If there is helium inside that balloon will probably float. But when we talk about parades, that thing right there would be called a float. Sometimes they do, float in the air, but sometimes they are like this big turkey thing, and maybe they have wheels, so they will roll on the ground, but they're still called floats. So those things in a parade are called floats. You know, they're not a marching band, but those other things are called floats in a parade. Excuse me. Drinking a lot of liquid today. Here's a sentence for you with parade. We watched the Thanksgiving parade with colorful balloons and marching bands. Hopefully that one helps right there. What about this? These are some of my favorite meals, to be honest. Potluck. Do you know that term in English? Potluck. Well, before we get to the sentence, just take a look at that picture. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty delicious to me. Now, I know my brother, Ben, he's been on the channel quite a bit. He doesn't like foods that are white or yellow in color. He's a little weird, right? He doesn't like butter. He doesn't like sour cream. Some of my favorite foods, if you can call sour cream and butter food. But he would not like this. But I don't know. This just kind of looks like delicious to me. So this could be a potluck dinner. And if you have a potluck dinner, it is a meal where everyone gathers, but they bring their own dish, enough to share with everybody. So here is a definition of what potluck is. It's a meal where each guest will bring a food they made or bought to share with everyone else. And so when you go to a potluck dinner, there may be some food there that you really like and maybe some food that you skip. But there's usually plenty to eat because people bring dishes like this. I don't know. It looks like some deviled eggs there in the middle. Maybe some sandwiches there. I don't know, some pasta salad. I don't know. It doesn't look very healthy. Ooh, it does look like there might be fruit in the back. So you may have to reach over to get to that fruit. But that looks like a potluck dinner to me. Here's a sentence using potluck for you. Our Thanksgiving, let me try to read that correctly. Our Thanksgiving dinner is a potluck with everyone bringing their favorite food to share. Now, that's not exactly how our Thanksgiving dinner worked yesterday. I will talk more about that when I talk about main dish versus side dish. But I do know some families will have a potluck dinner kind of style Thanksgiving dinner. But let's talk about, let's talk about this timer that's going off right now. I would like to give a huge thank you to any channel members who may be in the chat right now. So what I would like to do is switch this over to members only. There aren't too many people watching live. Looks like about 41, but there are some members here. So, what I would like to do is just give those members a chance to talk. And if you would like to become a member, hopefully there is a link in the description. But it does look like Filippo. Thank you so much. Yeah, luckily he left a super chat and says, "Hey, you fool. Do lessons even sick?" Thank you, man. Yeah, I did. I postponed this lesson because I was pretty sick. Was it yesterday morning? I was pretty sick Wednesday night, so I did postpone it to today. So I'm about 80%. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to yell too much or anything like that, but I figured the work was done. We should at least do this English lesson. Filippo, I have a little something for you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for the super chat.
Took another sip there of that prime. Hey Siri, set my timer for 5 minutes, please. Because if I don't have something to remind me, I will forget to take members chat off. And that wouldn't be very fun for everyone else. Yeah, I got this idea from Bob the Canadian. I don't know how he remembers to do members only or when to stop it. So I need timers. Luckily, I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. So I plan on just sitting in a chair and probably watching YouTube videos, maybe. Oh, watching some football and hockey, I think. Filippo says, "Hey, Audie. Now we can do it on WhatsApp, remember? Maybe next week." Oh, yeah. And if you are a member, there is a Discord server, and you can chat right on the Discord server too. So that is cool. There you go, Audie. Audie, it must be very late where you live, by the way. All right, let's check. I don't know why, but they're having trouble. And it seems like it's Facebook's fault. So enough about Facebook. Let's get back to this English lesson here. We were talking about potluck, but now we need to talk about homemade versus store-bought. And I think just by the words themselves, this should be pretty easy to understand. So some people yesterday, when they came to my house, my family, they might have made some things, some items at their house, or they may have bought them at the store. So I do have some sentences for you and some definitions just to make it a little more clear. But homemade is exactly what it sounds like. You make it at home. And you might also hear that word from scratch. From scratch. So if you have something homemade, it could be from a box or it could be from scratch. For example, if I made a cake at home from a box, that means most of the ingredients would come from a box. I might have to add water, eggs, maybe some cooking oil, some vegetable oil, maybe some milk. But most of the ingredients would come from a box. So we would call that, it's homemade, but it's from a box. It's not from scratch. To make a cake from scratch, you would need eggs, flour, sugar, stuff like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Two types of homemade items. Could be from scratch, could be from a box. Both are delicious, but maybe the one from scratch tastes just a little bit better. Maybe it was made with love, a little more love. But hey, don't knock store-bought items. When I say don't knock it, it means, Don't hate on it. It's not that bad. Show it a little bit of love. We do have the saying in English, don't knock it till you try it. So maybe, oh, my brother, he would never do this. But let's say I had some potatoes with butter and sour cream, and I said to him, hey, try these potatoes. Like, oh, no, that's gross. I'm like, hey, don't knock it until you try it, which means don't say you hate it before you eat it. Give a little taste. He would never do it, though. He would never do it. So, store-bought, that's exactly what it sounds like as well. Store-bought is exactly what it sounds like, too. You buy it from a store. So, yesterday, for our desserts, I think they were all store. No, they were not. Hang on. They were not all store-bought. So, I know Jamie made some cookies. They were homemade. I think some were from scratch and some were from a box. Excuse me. But I do know some of the desserts we had were pies and they were store bought. Yeah. I don't think anybody made a pie crust or anything like that. I think we had 3 pies. I'm not a pie guy. I didn't have any pie yesterday. But I think we had like 3 pies and they were all store bought, I think. I'm not a big pie guy, not a big dessert guy, to be honest. Right, let's let everybody back into the chat. Thank you, channel members. If you are a channel member, you do get bonus videos every week. Let me just change this here. Yeah, you get bonus videos every week. And before some live lessons, when I'm feeling better, we will do like a 30-minute chat before the live lessons. I'm sure we will have one next week. And gold members come on camera, like Sita and Filippo did last week. Was it just last week? Yeah, it wasn't even last week. It was like 5 days ago, I think. There were some things going on in the chat, though. So, was there a watermelon in the... There might have been. The potluck? I love watermelon. I do. One of my favorite fruits. Summertime. So good. Yeah, Discord. That's cool. You can choose to be on camera or you can choose just to do the audio. So, Omron says, I'm just eating right now. After hearing the turkey, the other food makes me hungry. Yeah, I didn't put on like dark meat and light meat, but that is a term we have for turkey and chicken. So it's just what it sounds like. When you go to Thanksgiving and they have a turkey, you might hear somebody say, "Hey, do you want white meat or dark meat?" And so the white meat would come more from the breast and the dark meat would come more from the legs, right? But I think yesterday, I'm not much of a turkey guy either, but I think we had only turkey breast. Yeah, I think we only had white meat. So, all right. Yeah, I would say, oh man, I can't remember what the Italian term is for homemade. I almost want to say fatta in casa, but I don't think that's it. I used to know it. Maybe if I had more of a second, I could think about it, but trying to go quickly here because you're all trying to learn English. Harry says, what if you eat normal chicken on Thanksgiving instead of that? Is that okay? Yeah, sure. So some families will have the tradition of also having like ham for Thanksgiving. You know, some people don't eat pork, but if they do, they might have ham as well as turkey because, you know, let's face it, not everybody likes turkey. And of course, chicken would be fine. The more food, the better, I think, on Thanksgiving, to be honest. Omron says, I prefer homemade stuff because I think it's more healthier. Yeah, it's probably healthier. Probably. But most of the stuff that I make at home, the homemade stuff I make is usually are sweets. Yeah, like cookies and cakes. I make a really good strawberry cake that my sister-in-law likes a lot. Let's see here. Filippo, long, long comment. Hey Brent, Mahmood was asking earlier if only the US used to celebrate Thanksgiving. Yeah, I answered that Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving too, a different day. I don't know why. No, yeah, you're right. So in the United States, oh man, it's a little controversial. We have this day that some people call Columbus Day and some people call Indigenous Peoples Day. It's sometime in October. That day is also Canadian Thanksgiving. I think in Canada they just call it Thanksgiving. And then in the United States, we always celebrate Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursday of November. But that's true. It's true. No way. Oh, was it close? Fatto in casa. Okay. Bravo. Grazie mille. Grazie mille. All right, so somehow I remembered that. Why turkey? Zig, that's a great question. I'm not sure. We have a story in the United States of where Thanksgiving comes from. You can look that up. I won't go into it today, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe from the first Thanksgiving. Mom made Harry from Indonesia. It doesn't, but it should, right? Mom made. I like it. Instead of homemade, if your mom makes it, it's mom made. It's not a word in English, but it should be. Start it. That's a good one. All right, I do believe we have a few more terms to talk about here. We talked about homemade, talked about mom made, talked about store bought, but we haven't talked about this verb. I do love this verb, and it is gobble. Gobble has a couple different meanings. But because this is Thanksgiving and a lot of Americans eat turkey for Thanksgiving, gobble is the sound a turkey makes. But it can also be used to describe eating food quickly. So when kids are young, at least in English, and probably in your first language too, parents will teach children the sounds that animals make. So in English, a sheep goes ba, ba, and a cow goes moo. And I think the reason that parents do this, they might not know it, but it helps their children practice making some of those sounds in English. So cows go moo and sheep go ba. But turkeys gobble. Yeah. So parents will say, a turkey says gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. I'm not sure why. It really doesn't sound like what a turkey makes, but we do say gobble for the sound a turkey makes. They go gobble, gobble, gobble. All right. But you can also hear, oh yeah, I have a sentence for you. I have a sentence. Turkeys make a funny gobble sound, and some people say, I gobble my food. One thing that makes me mad about English is that sometimes when there's a Y at the end of a noun and you want to make it plural, you want to make it more than one, you change that Y to IES. But guess what? For turkeys, you don't. You just simply add the S. Turkeys make a funny gobble sound. And sometimes people say, I gobble my food. You might hear this English phrasal verb I'm hoping that this is new for you. Gobble up. Gobble up. That means when there is food on the table, but somebody eats it all really quickly, you can say, wow, they gobbled up all of the potato. Who ate all the potato? Who gobbled up all the potato? You might be kind of mad about that. Gobbled up. Now, it looks like that guy is gobbling up noodles. Oh, man, noodles. Noodles sound really good. But today, Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is a time where a lot of American families will eat leftovers. Leftovers. And that's another word that sounds pretty much like the word left over. Leftovers. Leftovers. It's food that is still not eaten after a meal. So yesterday, after we finished eating, there were a lot of leftovers. A lot of pies, a lot of cookies not eaten. A lot of people didn't leave room for dessert. So each of my family members, I guess, picked some leftovers they would like to take home with them. Jamie and I did not want to keep that food in the house because we would probably eat it and we would just, have more calories and gain weight. We didn't want that. So I think everybody who was here took some food home. There was leftovers after the meal and they took that food home. Here is something that is true for a lot of Americans. Not me, because I'm not a turkey guy, but we enjoy turkey sandwiches as leftovers for a few days after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is always on Thursday. And so maybe by Sunday, you don't want to keep eating that turkey because it might go bad. But for a couple days after, if you have a lot of leftovers, you might have turkey sandwiches. All right, let's check the chat. What is going on here? Hey, Amina's here. Welcome. Welcome, Amina. Chris, hope you're doing well. Okay, so in Indonesian, there is a different sound for what turkeys say. And it sounds like there's a different sound in Italian as well. Very cool. What is that? Yeah, leftover. No, it's pretty much anything. Yeah, anything. And I think, I don't know, like pasta too, you could have, it can be any meal. It does not have to be Thanksgiving meal. And you can just eat leftovers the next day. But I do think pasta tastes better the day after. So I love eating leftovers when it's pasta. Yeah. That could be controversial. All right, we are going to talk about stuffing here pretty soon. All right, Spanish. Cuba. Hey, Dunsney. Hope you're doing well. It's been a little while. All right, what else do we have here? My voice is not holding up so well, so we might have a couple more here. Okay, we got main dish. Didn't want to do that. We have main dish versus side dish. So we have to talk about these two here. Main dish versus side dish. So for any meal, the main dish is probably meat. Maybe. Probably. Let's talk about what main dish is. A main dish is the most important food item in a meal. It's often meat. Not always, but often. And for Thanksgiving, the main dish for most American families is turkey. But my favorite part of Thanksgiving are the side dishes. So the side dishes are pretty much everything besides the main dish. And when you talk about potluck, If you go back to potluck, where everybody brings a dish, potluck is often a meal of just side dishes. There really isn't a main dish when it comes to having potluck dinners. One of my favorite, one of my favorite side dishes is dressing. Now, there is a little controversy in the United States. Some people call it stuffing. Some people call it dressing. So, dressing or stuffing is a side dish that is basically bread made with cornmeal, often served as a side dish, usually lots of butter. For my dressing, I like to put in maybe some cut up really fine, like chopped egg, maybe some celery, lots of butter. Did I mention butter? Lots of butter. Maybe small pieces of chicken, maybe some chicken stock. So if you hear dressing, it might look like this, and it's made in a pan. But if we go back to this turkey here, it looks like there might be breadcrumbs inside that turkey. And so a lot of people would call that stuffing. Okay, stuffing looks like that inside a turkey. And that is dressing. All right. Almost done here. But I do need to thank, we do have some more side dishes I would like to talk about. But before we bring this English lesson to an end, I would like to give one more plug to the fine folks at Link, a great language learning app. I think it will really help you improve your English. And I'm going to give you a few reasons why this is a really good app. And it's Black Friday here in the United States. And Link is offering 40% off an annual membership. Let me take a minute to talk about today's sponsor, Link. It is the app I have been using for the last 4 years to learn Italian and Portuguese. And right now, for their Black Friday sale, they are offering a deal to new users where you get 40% off a 12-month membership. One of the things I like most about Link is the amount of lessons you can learn with is limitless. There is no limit. If you see a news article you want to learn with, you can import it in Link. Any of my lessons on YouTube, you can import that into Link. And Link keeps track of the words you know and the words you don't know. And the best thing about Link is that you can learn from anywhere. Maybe you like learning on the desktop computer. You can do that. I prefer to learn on my phone. I even studied Link on a plane. So if Link sounds like something you might like, go to the comment section and find that link that will give you 40% off. And now back to the English lesson at a construction site. That's not a construction site now. It's an English lesson about Thanksgiving. And we do have a few side dishes to talk about. But thank you for watching that short ad on Link. I really do. I use Link almost every day. I should use it every day. Sometimes I'm too busy making English lessons. All right, but we have something called cranberry sauce, which I love to put cranberry sauce into my dressing. I love mixing those two things together. That cranberry sauce in the picture comes from a can. It's canned cranberry sauce. I think it tastes better, but some people like homemade cranberry sauce where you can actually see the little bits of fruit in it. Not me. I grew up with the canned cranberry sauce, and I think everybody at the dinner table yesterday preferred canned cranberry sauce over homemade cranberry sauce. Call these things mashed potatoes in English. I'm sure you have a different name in your language. I don't know. I love, what is French? Is it pomme de terre? Isn't that it? Pomme de terre in French? I don't know what mashed potatoes are, but I do like that word in French. It literally means apples of the earth, right? Pomme de terre. Yeah, good stuff. But in English, we take those potatoes and we mash them. Mash. I suppose you could mash somebody in the face. If you want to go faster in your car, you could mash on the gas pedal. But you can also mash potatoes, mix them with some salt, pepper, butter, sour cream, gravy. We'll talk about gravy in just a minute. But I do like mashed potatoes as long as they don't get too cold. And they cool off rather quickly. So you should gobble them up, to go back to a term we learned a few minutes ago. Gravy. I like gravy. I'm not a big turkey guy. I'm not a big meat guy. And for some reason, I like gravy. My wife is the opposite. Jamie likes meat more than I do. She likes turkey and steak, but I like gravy. It's weird. She doesn't. Anyways, I thought this term might be kind of cool. You mostly just see this on Thanksgiving, but you might put a gravy boat on the table. And a gravy boat is, I think I have a sentence for you. It's just a gravy boat is a small boat shaped container used to serve gravy at the table. It's called a gravy boat. And it looks like that. Yeah. You can pour the gravy over your turkey or your potatoes. What about this? Rolls. I think this is my brother. Yes, he said it yesterday. His favorite part of Thanksgiving dinner are the rolls. And I wanted to teach a verb that you might not know. So those are rolls. They're just like little bready things. I don't think you need a definition, right? Since you have a picture there. Those are what rolls are. But that verb spread. So I like to spread butter on warm rolls during Thanksgiving dinner. You might take a little pat of butter and then spread it with a knife on the rolls. Somebody just texted me. Oh. My wife is Black Friday shopping, and I think she got a good deal. Pecan pie. I think she got a pecan pie. So we'll look forward to that when she gets home. And I think we have one more. Cider. My family, we do not have the tradition of drinking cider at Thanksgiving, but some people do. It's a little bit different from juice. So cider is made with apples almost all the time. Cider is made from apples, but there's less sugar than juice. And sometimes you might find like little bits of apple in the cider. So cider is a non-alcoholic beverage made from pressed apples. I like cider. I just don't drink it during Thanksgiving. But you might hear hard cider in English. And if you do, be careful. That cider is going to have alcohol in it. Hard cider. That is the English lesson on Thanksgiving. But let's just go through. Yeah. Meow. We say meow in English for what a cat says, and we say woof for what a dog says. Oh, Abdi. How can I forget about that? Right? The stuffing, I like onion in it, but my son and my wife don't like onion. So I don't know. A lot of times I won't put onion in the stuffing that others are eating. But yeah, I do like onion. Walter, hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Mashed potatoes. Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. The hotter the better for mashed potatoes because it melts that butter. Michael, you're back. Hey, guess what? I haven't eaten breakfast yet, and it is like just about lunchtime here. So yeah, I'm getting pretty hungry myself. Oh, I don't miss any of your lessons, Brent. Dunsnay. Thank you very much. Maybe I just haven't seen you comment, but maybe you're watching on replay. So good to see you. Hope all is well in Cuba. All right, Omron. More than welcome. And thank you for that super chat earlier. Harry asks, what does cider taste like? So I guess the best way to describe it is like juice would be sweeter, and then cider is a little more bitter. Definitely not as sweet. And to be honest, I like apple juice year round, but an apple juice will last forever. It won't go bad. But I usually only have cider in the fall after apples have been harvested. So cider doesn't last as long, and you can really only get it around here, at least good cider. You can only get that in the fall. So there aren't as many preservatives in cider. And preservatives is what we call things that make food last longer in English. So, like, I don't know, store bought cookies probably have a lot of preservatives. It preserves the food longer. But if you make the cookies at home, they don't last quite as long. The same with cider. I think juice will last pretty much forever, right? Because there's like tons of sugar and salt in it. Cider won't last as long, but it's good. It's good. Mina, family members. Yes, I should do that. Family members. If it's a simple English lesson, family members, it might be on my other channel. I think it's called, I don't even know what it's called, but it's almost at 1,000 subscribers. I think it's American English Guy 2. So maybe, yeah, maybe you want to. I do have some simple English lessons over there. Let's see, what's it called? Look at that. American English Guy 2, and it's at 999 subscribers. So maybe I do put some easier lessons over there, and family members, that would be a good lesson for that channel, I think. An accent lesson sometime. Well, Zig, I don't know about that. I love accents. So I know there is something called accent reduction. And I know you should be understood when you're speaking English. But I'm a big believer in people keeping their accent. You know, you want to be understood. You want people to understand you. But so I don't know. Maybe like an accent, different accents around the United States. Could do something like that. All right, 1 million subscribers. Well, at this rate, it is going to take a very long time. No, cider and vinegar. No, they're not the same. No. I like drinking cider, but I wouldn't want to drink vinegar, if that makes sense. No, I'm not going live on Saturday. I'm going to take the weekend off. Filippo, have a good weekend. All right. I think that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed this English lesson about Thanksgiving. You know, a couple days later than it should have been because I wasn't feeling the best, but feeling a little better today. And I'm going to enjoy some family time this weekend. Hopefully you have a great weekend as well. And I'll have another English lesson for you probably next Wednesday, I think. So